stop, and landing 13 left if that's available.
Papa Hotel Tango India Link, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Papa Hotel Tango India Link, Palm Springs altimeter is 2985, radar contact about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, you're requesting straight in for 13.
That's available.
Ever departure of Papa Hotel Tango India Link, make straight in runway 13 left and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 3 left, Papa Hotel Tango India Link, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance plus 4658 is type visit final slam call request clearance to Vegas S file.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon. Unable to give you S file, and I'll be full route standby. Plus 4658 is cleared to the Las Vegas airport via Flight Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs, Victor 370 to 29 Palms, Victor 538, Cresso, join the Cresso 3 arrival. Maintain 7,000, expect flight level 2405 minutes after departure, departure frequency 126.7, squawk 6316.
Plus 4658 is cleared to Vegas via Cathedral 1, Palm Springs, Victor 37029, Palms, Victor 538, Cresso 3. Initially climb 7 plus expect 025, departure 167, plus 67, plus 6
Plus 4658, read back is correct. Tango India Link, taxi to the ground via Echo and frequency.
Taxiing to the ramp via Echo, remaining on this frequency, Papa Hotel Tango India Link.
Ontario Tower, Cessna 237 Charlie Alpha, approximately 4 miles to the west, inbound to land.
Number 237, Charlie Alpha, roger, inner left, traffic, left downwind, runway 26 left, report base.
Enter left downwind 26 left, report your base, 237 Charlie Alpha.
Charlie Tower, United 242, on the visual for 20 right, returning for right base starting.
United 242, John Wayne Tower, runway 20 right, clear to land, wind 170.3.
Clear to land, 20 right, United.
Near 520 Yankee Kilo, Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land, wind 210 at 1. Number 237, Charlie Alpha, runway 26 left, clear to land.
Left clear to land, 7 Charlie Alpha.
Palm Springs round plus 4658 is traffic to weather going for taxi.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs ground, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Trail right via Echo Bravo 465.
Riverside Tower, good morning, November 2903 Alpha with you on the islands.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside Tower, good afternoon. Runway 9 clear low approach, report miss.
November 2903 Alpha, low approach, runway 9, next week north.
Palm Springs Tower plus 4658 ready to go trail right at Bravo.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs Tower, runway 31 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, trail right plus 465.
Senior 0 Yankee Kilo, roger, taxi into the ramp via Alpha. Plus 4658, contact SoCal departure.
Contact departure 465.
Cessna 7 Charlie Alpha is clearly active, taxi to the GA parking base.
We're 7 Charlie Alpha, and on this frequency taxi to the South Ramp via Sierra.
South Ramp via Sierra with you, 7 Charlie Alpha, thanks.
November 2903 Alpha, going around.
Number 03 Alpha, confirm going around or going miss?
November 2903 Alpha, going missing.
Number 03 Alpha, roger, execute the published missed approach procedure.
Flying public missed approach procedure, November 2903.
Piper 2903 Alpha, contact SoCal departure.
Contact departure, 03 Alpha.
Number 03 Alpha, departure frequency will be 135.4.
135.4 for departure, November 2903 Alpha.
Ontario Tower, November 516 Delta Mike, inbound RLS 26 left. Or 516 Delta Mike, Ontario Tower. Good afternoon, Ontario. Wind is calm. Runway 26 left, clear to land.
26 left, clear to land, 6 runway. Ontario Tower, November 36. Correction, 516 Delta Mike, clear the active uniform, taxiing to the South Apron.
Number 6 Delta Mike, roger, taxi on South Ramp via Sierra, remain on this frequency.
This year on this frequency 6 Delta.
Riverside Tower, Riverside route, November 2903 Alpha, in Alpha request taxi to the transient partner.
Number 2903 Alpha Riverside ground. In the future, don't switch to the ground frequency unless you're told to do so. Just stay with tower, exiting the runway all the way to the hold short point. Stay on this frequency for now. Taxi into the ramp via Alpha.
Taxi to ramp via Alpha. Rocket. November 2903 Alpha.
Runway clear. Runway clearance. November 6th. Charlie Mike Cherokee. I would like to attempt the I-4 rating today.
Cherry 76 Charlie Mike John clearance. Good evening. Good luck on the I-4 destination. Will be Kilo Oscar X-ray Romeo.
That's Kilo Oscar X-ray Romeo. 620 Mike.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
I'm going to sign off and collect some information for this destination. I'll sign back in. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Just report when you're back with the I-4. And how long do you think it'll be? It's not going to be more than an hour, is it?
No. I have to file and get some charts and plates.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'll still be here, so it shouldn't be a problem. And we'll look for your flight plan to come through. Which reminds us.
Las Vegas Tower Plus 46589 visual 1 on the right 4500.
Plus 4658 Las Vegas Tower, runway 19 right, clear to land, wind 1807.
Clear to land 1 right 465.
Plus 658 exit right, taxi into the ramp via hotel. Remain on this frequency today.
Exit right, ramp via hotel, ramp frequency 58 465.
Ground number 953 Whiskey Alpha's Hyperch Comanche PH or slide Alpha. Taxi to be active VFR East departure with weather.
Calling Long Beach Ground, need you to verify your call sign, please.
Sorry about that. 916 Whiskey Alpha, November 916 Whiskey Alpha.
Comanche 9016 Whiskey Alpha, Long Beach Ground, roger. And just confirm VFR eastbound.
Eastbound and east ramp just south of runway 25.
Comanche 9016 Whiskey Alpha, roger. Runway 26 right, taxi via Kilo.
Okay, 25 right via Kilo, 916 Whiskey Alpha. Long Beach Tower, November 916 Whiskey Alpha, holding short 25 right Kilo, ready for departure VFR east.
Ground 16 Whiskey Alpha, Long Beach Tower, runway 25 right, clear for takeoff, right down with departure.
Clear for takeoff 25 right down with departure 6 Whiskey Alpha. Good day, Palm Springs, ground scanning double delta, east ramp, India, close traffic, 31 right.
Papa Hotel Tango to Mike, Palm Springs, ground, say good aircraft type.
Gray Cessna scan.
Skyline Tango to Mike, thank you, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Echo and Bravo, 31 right, double delta.
We're center 791 Juliet, towards ground left.
Okay, Sky 700, we see there's no clearance delivery with this field, so would we get our departure instructions with tower or with ground?
Always go with the lowest, so we'll start with ground. Just say your intentions.
Okay, Sky 791 Juliet, type Cessna 172 on the south Angus with the numbers requesting VFR advisories to
Number 791 Juliet, roger, departure frequency 134.9er, squawk 2061.
1249, that's 2061.
Got 991 Juliet, read back is correct, are you ready to taxi now?
In a couple of minutes, just gotta go and keep starting. Sky 700, south Angus,
Sky 791 Juliet, roger, runway 29 right. Taxi via hotel, correction, taxi via Alpha in Juliet.
29 right taxi by Alpha and Juliet, Sky 700. Palm Springs Towers, calling Papa Tango, Mike is holding short runway 31 right, Bravo, and ready for departure, close traffic.
Hello everyone, happy Monday. The I-2 rating, the second rating check ride you could say, of PilotEdge. I'm really excited to do this one. Learned a lot in the previous run, the first I rating, where we actually did a kind of like a traffic pattern under IFR at John Wayne, but this time we're going to fly to another airport, IFR, from John Wayne to Palomar Airport. Not that long of a flight, but it's going to be interesting, an ILS approach. And yeah, again, it's an examination, you could say. So I'm really stoked about this. Let's see if I can complete this one. If not, we're going to do this many, many times over until I nail that rating. It's actually that the I ratings are part of a curriculum as well, as part of a training program. So I view them as check rides, but in a way you can just do the I ratings as part of your IFR training. They are really nicely scaffolded and step by step increase the difficulty, so that's really, really nice. Hope you're all doing well, guys. Step on the ball, good to see ya. Had to wait for an American holiday, but I finally got to watch you live. That's great to hear. Good to see you here. Step on the ball. Keaton, hello. Finish. Good to see you as well. Oh, you're sick, buddy. I hope you're getting well very, very soon. Thank you for dropping in. Hoping that I can get some advice and some tips while I'm flying here. Good to see you. Pilot Panos. Hello, hello. Hello, hello to you as well. Yeah, so the I-2 rating. Where are we? So we are at John Wayne. Let's see what I can show you guys. Here is the oh, you see that all my overlays are not really nicely in sync. I'm stepping over to another not OBS, the basic traditional classic hardcore OBS streaming studio app, but I'm now using the Streamlabs OBS, which is actually pretty nice. So I just did a basic export import thing, but I see that there's still some tweaking that I still need to do, so apologies for that, but it works actually pretty great. It's much faster, streamlined, so if you're a streamer, check out Streamlabs OBS. Up to now it looks great and it works fine. But how are you today? Yeah, I'm great today, and again stoked to do this I-2 rating. This is the flight from John Wayne, the airport that we already very familiar of, and we're going to capture Victor, the airway Victor 23, which is actually just a radial. All Victor airways are radials. I believe all of them. Not sure if that's if there are any exceptions. So we're going to follow Victor 23 at 5,000 feet all the way down to Palomar Airport, a Delta class airport, and we're going to execute, hopefully successfully execute, the ILS approach into runway 24. That's it. So yeah, a short flight, perfect flight for us as IFR beginners. So I'm hoping that I will do just fine. Yes, in terms of charts, well, we're already quite familiar with John Wayne, but I'll show you anyways. We are currently parked over here at Atlantic. So I guess we're going to get assigned 20 left for our departure once more. And let me see, done. Here is the approach. So as part of the I ratings, usually when you fly IFR on PilotEdge, also in the real world I guess, but especially on PilotEdge, usually the approach controller, once you get near your destination airport, will just ask you, what is your approach request? You can just tell them what kind of approach you like to do. It could be the ILS or any other approach that is available for that destination airport. You can then also distinguish between a full approach, so you're actually going to fly it from the very first fix that is mentioned in the approach. In this case, we could also fly the approach from Oceanside. It's also part of our en route chunk, but in this case I guess we're gonna get vectored to the approach, but for practice sake you could also fly the full approach and also do all the holding entries and stuff, which is really nice and obviously has some educational value. You can also ask for vectors for the ILS, so then ADC will just give you headings to fly and altitudes to maintain until you are well, are going to get parked just in front of the final approach fix, so you can capture the glide slope and land. You can also have visual approaches. There are all kinds of variations there, but in case of the I ratings, they just like you to complete particular approaches, also for training's aid and for demonstration as well, so you can show off that you know what you're doing in these cases. We have to fly the ILS runway 24 approach into Palomar as part of the I-2 rating. That's about it. Thanks for the follow, A Macado. Thanks, appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Keaton, how do you capture your ForFlight from your iPad to the stream? I use AirServer. AirServer is a paid app, or app, it's an application for your computer, and via Wi-Fi you can do these recordings, which is really, really nice, especially for streaming and especially for our sim pilots, because ForFlight is such an integral tool for me, at least, to prepare but also execute my flights. And also a way to note down anything ADC is telling you and showing you on stream what I'm actually doing. So I think that's that really has some value. So AirServer, that's the application that you can look for. Pilot Panos, when I first saw your setup layout, I thought you were going to stream real-world training. Haha, yeah. Well, it is a bit of a real-world training, though. I mean, we're using flight simulation, though, but the stuff that we're doing, also as part of this I-rating, covers the real thing. We're actually flying ILS approaches. These approaches are real. This plate is used by actual pilots. And the PilotEdge controllers, the air traffic controllers here on net, they pretend to be professional air traffic controllers, and so in terms of ADC, in terms of procedures, also for the airplane, there's not a lot of difference between real-world flying and simulation flying, which is pretty cool. So yeah, perfect preparation for actual real-world flight training, to be honest. So yeah, this is the approach that we're going to fly. Looks really great. ILS approaches are great, and as part of my learning also from the previous I-rating, I'm especially aware now of the point in which we're going to capture the glide slope here, which is that lightning strike arrow. Also to sync our altimeter setting. So once we're going to hit that point, 6.5 DME from the localizer or the ILS beacon on the field, our altimeter should also read 2300. Altimeter settings are essential for your IFR flying, also for your VFR flying, obviously. Pano, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. So that's something that we're going to do, or that I'm hoping to remember to do while we are flying. And even though that's just a simple item to remember, at this point we are busy managing the airplane. We're talking to ADC. We're trying to capture the glide slope. So there are a lot of balls there to keep up. To juggle with, so even small tiny items really can make things a lot more challenging, which is interesting. So I'm hoping that around this time at Seadrew I will do my altimeter check and know that I'm actually on 2300 and know that my altimeter is reliable and we can continue our descent. You can see that V there, that's the VDP, visual descent point, which actually only relates to flying this particular approach as a non-precision approach, so only on the localizer. So there could be times where the ILS, the glide slope information is not there, is not available, is not working with the ILS because the ILS system is broke, or your instruments do not pick up the glide slope, or for whatever reason. So you can also fly this approach as a non-precision approach, just using the localizer, just the lateral guidance into the airfield. And in that setting, the VDP becomes important. You can see also there's an asterisk there saying localizer only. But in our case, because we're flying the ILS with glide slope information, I hope at least, if our instruments do not break down on us, we are not concerned with that at all. So we're going to brief while we're flying, hoping to be also a little bit more systematic in doing my briefing, because last time I was just focused on the final approach fix, or actually the point where I should capture the glide slope, and that was about it, just following along with the vectors of ADC, but I should be a little bit more prepared. So I'm hoping to incorporate that with my current rating as well. I have to see. The Maltese Cross, exactly, finish. The Maltese Cross, that's what it's called. Also, if you look at the plan view, you can see, which might be a little bit confusing, you can see a lot of other lightning strike symbols there. So don't confuse those with the lightning strike over here that has an arrow that points to the point where you're going to capture the glide slope. These indicate that these points are actually not to scale, if I'm right. So because there's actually quite a large area that they need to fit on this plan view, they just need to cramp the whole kind of plan view a little bit, downsize it so it can fit on the approach plate. So these distances between the fixes are not to scale, and I think that symbol represents that. So that's something different. But again, I like to be a little bit more systematic, so I'm going to follow that Z flow that Keith of PilotEdge mentioned as part of my review of the previous flight. Reading the notes important, the missed approach, the plan view, also the airport in terms of lights, especially when we have bad weather. It's good that you know what to expect in terms of your airport lights. And usually I thought, well, is that important? But it can be, especially when the tower is not really located in the middle or near your runway. For bigger airports, for example, the tower can be on the other side of the field, right? So once you're flying, and usually on the tower there's a big rotating beacon, and that's most of the time the first thing that you're going to see from the airport, and you're on your glide slope and you're perhaps confused by something like, am I really on the right track? And you suddenly see that airport or that tower lightning far to your right, and you think, oh my gosh, right? I should turn to the right, and there you go, and then actually crash into something. And that's why it's important that you know what to expect in terms of your lights as well. So that's one of the reasons why it's important to know what to look for. Also in terms of your decision altitude, when you're going to make the decision whether to continue the landing, it's also good to know whether you can expect what the runway looks like and that kind of stuff. So then the profile view. When are we going to capture the glide slope, but also the decision height as well. So kind of like a Z kind of flow. So let's see if I can do that while we are flying. Or flying towards Palomar. Panos, have you ever flown commercial airliners in the sim? Well, I did a long time ago as a little kid, but not with proper procedures and stuff. So it was just like pretending or just playing airliner pilot. And I really dig flying the Cessna 172, just basic small J aircraft. I also just like to fly. So with the 172, you're not going to go that fast, but that gives you more time to enjoy flying, I think, and just work with the primary instruments and really nailing the basics of VFR and IFR flight. Perhaps in the future I'm going to upgrade my flying to turbo engine airplanes, perhaps also jets. But there's still so much fun stuff to do. Also multi-engine, obviously. So yeah, lots of stuff to do. Hey Dad, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right, so that's the ILS. And the final sheet is just Palomar Airport. So it's a very basic airport, one runway 24, and that's about it. Step on the ball. Thanks for the donation, man. Appreciate it. Every buck, every dollar is going to be used for getting myself flight tickets to get to the next Flight Sim Expo. So don't know if you're going to go as well to the Flight Sim Expo of 2019 in Orlando, but I would love to visit. So that's why I've set up this particular donation goal, to see you guys and to also mingle and have an idea of all the other streamers and cool keynotes and stuff. I cannot wait to attend, so I'll buy you a beer. Thanks, Step on the Ball. Appreciate it once more. Thanks. So that's in terms of charts. So again, a very basic flight. Another thing that's interesting, because now we're actually going to fly to another airport. I have mounted, as you know, my GNS 430, so I'm using the GPS here. This is actually a perfect flight to use with plain old slant alpha radio navigation, just the VOR. We're actually flying, practically we're just flying the radial from Seal Beach to Oceanside. However, the current 172 that I have doesn't have a DME. Now we can use, when I use the GPS, I obviously get some distances there in between fixes. But it's a little bit annoying, so I've asked MiniWebs to also mount a DME receiver into the default 172 here, because for training that's actually quite useful. In any case, it's just good to remind myself of, in the case that we would fly slant alpha, what we need to look for. And what's very interesting, I think, are changeover points. So because we're flying on a Victor airway that connects one vortex with another, especially when those are actually far out, there are points where you need to switch over from using one radio frequency to the other, right? And those are indicated on the chart. And I think here as well. Let's see if I can find those. So for example, that first chunk here, here's Seal Beach. So we're going to use that frequency if it would fly slant alpha. I'm just using the GPS, but still, if it would fly slant alpha in this particular radial, we're going to fly that outwards until we reach a particular point near Oceanside when we need to switch over. Now, in those cases, such a switch over point is mentioned. If not, you're just going to use the middle, right? So just when you're halfway through, you're going to switch over to the other frequency. It's a little bit hard to see. I think perhaps we need to use that halfway measure. I'm just looking closely to see that difference. Let's switch over point. I don't see it here, which doesn't really surprise me because Oceanside and Seal Beach are very nearby, relatively. Yeah, I don't see it. Also interesting here, this particular symbol, this is Balbo fix. But you can also see those, I don't know how to say that in English, guys, those stop points, this symbol, that T, inverted T, which shows you that we're actually going to, I believe, bump up to another MEA, I think so. There's a change in MEA, but if I look here, you can see 4,000 is the minimum in route altitude when we go to the east. But if I look at this chunk here, you can see that it's still 4,000. But I guess both ways, and that's the change. And you can see that this fix here doesn't have those inverted T symbols. So just by reading off the chart and seeing those fixes, you know that you can use the same kind of MEA. In our case, because we're flying to the east IFR, 5,000 feet is going to be our cruising altitude, so that's what I filed as well. Lastly, one thing that I noticed or learned actually from just preparing this iRating is that you can also file a Victor airway as your first initial fix, or your first point. I thought that you should always file a Vortec, so in terms of your IFR flight plan, right? So in our case, I would expect to file John Wayne to Seal Beach and then to Oceanside. But in this case, we can also just file Victor 23 Oceanside, which is a bit surprising to me, actually, because Victor 23 is actually a very big chunk. Where are you going to capture Victor 23? It's a little bit more vague, at least in my mind. Or are you going to get vectors to Victor 23 by ATC? But apparently you can do that. Yeah, file Victor 23. That's interesting. Sepanable lives near Orlando. That's great. More if you remember to set the clock. I didn't see that note. Thanks for reminding me, Step. Yeah, I do need to set the clock, especially for IFR now, because we got to avoid, not really avoid time, but in case we lose communications, we know what we need to do after a particular point in time. Thanks for reminding me. Kim, good to see you as well. Good to see you as well. Let's see if I missed some other stuff here. Don't want him to set the clock. I want him to earn it. By the way, something I can recommend is watching a few Just Planes flight deck videos. The briefings and comm stuff is very relevant to GA2. Yeah, Finish, you mentioned that a while ago as well. The Just Planes flight deck videos. I've looked at a couple of those, and they're really, really great. Yeah, and again, this is also YouTube is such a great resource for us sim pilots. Serious learning student sim pilots, because there's so much stuff out there, also by Keith, but others who just show their real world training, IFR training, also their flights, and comment, review those flights. Yeah, that's really gold. Really, really nice. Indeed, Wilco means will comply. Okay. So that's our brief. So let's get going. I'm not going to look at the weather actually. Also a bit lazy, to be honest. I just looked at the terminal weather information. So the METARs, we got some marginal VMC on John Wayne and on Palomar, which is going to improve actually over time. But in terms of icing and stuff, we're flying really, really low, and winds are okay. So I'm not going to go through the entire weather briefing, even though I love those weather charts. That's not what we're going to do today. Okay, that's it. So John Wayne, marginal VFR. we're going to do our checks, checklist, and yeah, let's get going. Boom, there we are. First off, cold and dark check. So parking brakes, those are set. Life vest, blah blah blah. Fire extinguisher, blah blah blah. Door is closed. Window is closed. ELT set to auto. Flap lever is up, and our flaps are also up. Mixture is good. Throttle is good. Trim is now good. Fuel tanks were already set to both. Fuel cutoff is in. Alternate is in. Avionics are off. Lights are off except for the beacon. Mouse switch is off, and the ignition switch is off as well. And my radios here are off as well. Not really that important, but they are off. That's the cool and dark check. Fuel selector check. Flaps lever check. Avionics check. Master checked. And is checked. Good. Then our internal systems. Let's see. Batteries on. We do have fuel. Let's put in just a bit more. There we go. We can hear the electrical gyros pull up, so that's a good sound. Avionics on. Ah, that's not good. As you can see, my transponder was still transmitting. So now it's off. We need to set VFR. That actually surprised me a bit because I did a flight a couple of days ago and I'm pretty sure that I turned that off. Oh, but I turned it off after I saved the flight, I think. It's always good when you turn on your avionics to before you turn off your avionics after flight to notice whether your transponder is set to off and VFR, because now, as you can see, when I do my startup and if I didn't look at my transponder, I would already transmit a code that might be already used by someone else, which is not good. So a transponder, flaps down, my flaps go down nicely and in sync. That's good. Let me see. Let's put on some radios. Boom, ADF. We don't need ADF, but there we go. Also my GPS. Audio panel is good. GPS is good. Annunciator looks good. Very good. Good sounds. 56 should be airport elevation. 21. 21-ish. Good. This is good. Yeah, feel good. Good. Circuit breakers. Fine. Then our GPS database, let's pretend that it's up to date. And we also got good deflection there of the needles. And we got receptions, simulated receptions of satellites. And there we go. We're not going to program the GPS just yet. I did that in previous streams where I would already put in, I already asked for request clearance for our IFR flight and then put it in and then save it and then do my startup with my engine and then blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm going to do. Also because we need some time just to warm up our engine. In summer times it's not that needed. We don't have a rental tachometer hours and Hobbs hours or stuff is not that we're not concerned with as sim pilots. Perhaps when we're going to fly FS economy we are, but for this time we're not. We hear ATC, that's good. So I'm actually quite pleased. Avionics off and batteries off. Good. Let's do our walk around. Yeah, those are set. Baggage door, let's pretend that it's closed. Elevator looks good. Our rudders look good as well. We should also look at the antennas, whether they're secure, and the beacon lights, and all kinds of other hinges and stuff. Tie down is removed. ELT antenna, let's pretend that's secure. Flaps have a wiggle. Ailerons also free. Tie down is removed. Fuel corresponds with our fuel gauge. Our quantity, indicated fuel quantity. Color is good, no water contamination. Again, I love the fact that A2A actually made a visual there of a cup of fuel where you actually need to inspect the picture to see whether the fuel is contaminated with water. Now that's already done for us with the rep. Any case, love A2A. Chocks removed, wheels look fine. Oil in good enough and good color. Prop no dents, engine intakes are clear. Filler is, let's pretend it's all good. Wheels, good quality, and again on the other side, fuel looks good as well. Pilot tube cover removed. Taxi lights, landing lights are good. In case, also here for IFR flight, we should actually also check the pitot heat and the lights where they are actually working. Flip on all the landing lights and strobe lights and stuff. I'm going to skip that today. And these flaps work as well. Chocks and wheels look good. Finish. Okay. Good. Yeah. Let's double check. Also forgot to do that with my interior inspection, by the way. Fuel quantity, flaps down, transponder, yeah, VFR and off, avionics and UncertifiedPilot. Yes, that's what we checked inside, and then outside. Parking measures removed, control surfaces look good. Fuel quality, oil look good. Avionics are off, lights, yeah, good. Okay. Kim, did you check the notice this time? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, and those are there's stuff that I still need to incorporate also as part of a full length, like the weather charts and stuff. But that's not what I like to do actually. Are there any important NOTAMs that I should be aware of for this particular flight? I mean, what's also nice with 4 flights, let's see if I can show you guys, which Keith showed me a while ago. I can also bring up my current flight into the flights panel of 4Flight. If you're using 4Flight, this is handy. And 4Flight can actually give you a full briefing for that flight, and it grabs the METARs and all the stuff that you need, also the NOTAMs for your particular flight and any in-between airports. So you got all of that information tucked into one briefing, which is really, really great. That would be the way to go also for my full-length preps here. Okay, so exterior we did as well. That means that we can start our engines. That's really, really good. Boom, closed. Before we do, actually, also again a briefing. So we're here at Atlantic at the south east side of John Wayne. We're going to taxi most likely to 20 left. And yeah, our flight is Victor 23. So we're going to get radar vectors to Victor 23. So we're just going to fly a basic heading, perhaps some altitude restrictions. And then we're going to capture Victor 23 and get along to Oceanside. And then we're going to pick up ADIS and do our approach brief. Yeah, I also like to visit the midfield run-up, like we did in the previous flight. So there are dedicated run-up areas here on John Wayne where the ADC likes us to do our power checks rather than just taxiing all the way down to your intersection departure. Usually at Kilo we're going to depart 20 left, rather than doing our checks there and blow away all kinds of airplanes or dust and stuff into other airplanes. It's better to do those run-ups at areas where we don't congest the airways and do bad stuff. So there's a southeast run-up that we can visit, or I usually visit the midfield run-up, so that's what I'm going to request. Okay, and all other stuff. We're going to rehearse our departure once we are at just before takeoff. Yeah. Okay. Then let's start up this pretty baby. The battery's on. Looks good. Throttle bit in. No, I don't want my avionics on. I want my fuel pump on. 1, 2, 3. Positive fuel flow. Cut off again. Let's see if no one is walking around. And no. Clear drop. Get your full in. 1200 oil pressure is in the green. We do have volts, yeah. And then a charge, exactly. 1200. Let's see if we can lean. And there's a dip in the RPM, so something like this. Very good. Then the avionics go on. Again, transponder is off and set to VFR, flaps up. And then GPS on. And now we can pick up ADIS, and ADIS is set to 126.0, already set. Wonderful.
Orange County, John Wayne Information Foxtrot. 1700 Zulu weather. Wind 030 at 5.
29er,
Visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 9,900 broken. Temperature 14. Dew point -4. Altimeter 2992.
Good.
Arriving
So our altimeter
runways
works.
20 right. 20 left.
Yeah.
Departing runways
We have
20
Foxtrots.
right.
I know. Thank you. That means that we are actually can get rid of the ADIS here, and we can use 120.15 for Palomar. 120.15. There we go. That's set. And yeah, we can just go to clearance, and we can set our radios after. Let me see. Just looking at the chart here. So clearance is already 118.0. can also set our RPM back to 1000. We're already in the greens, I see. 118.0. There's clearance and ground. We're gonna be east 120.8. That's already set. Good.
Request change to contact Santa Monica.
For 20 Romeo, leave Los Angeles Class Bravo, space radar services terminated, contact Santa Monica Tower.
Contact Santa Monica 210 Alfa Romeo.
Palomar, and let's see what we're gonna get.
Santa Monica Tower, Skyhawk 210 Alfa Romeo, with you at 2,500 feet for the to go to Van Nuys.
Number 210 Romeo, Santa Monica Tower, Squawk VFR northbound transition approved.
Squawk VFR, transition approved to 10 Alfa Romeo.
Delta 4445, clear direct Mission Bay VOR, contact SoCal approach 128.1.
Also mentioned that we're doing the I-2 rating. And John Wayne clearance, good day. Skyhawk Papa Hotel Tango Mike is at Atlantic with Foxtrot IFR to Palomar for the I-2, please.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, John Wayne clearance to Palomar Airport, flighting 175, radar vector Victor 23, then is filed, maintain 5000, departure frequency 128.1, squawk 3004.
Clear to Palomar, heading 175, radar vectors to Victor 23, then is filed, climb to 5000, 128.1 for departure and squawk 3004 for Papa Hotel Tango Mike.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, read that correct.
Ha! That was quick. Double check 3004, and our transponder is off. So let's put it on mode C. Perhaps we should have already been on mode C before we contacted clearance, actually. Okay, so now we have clearance, and now we can set up things. Again, I'm going to use the GPS here. You can see our engine is already, or our oil temperature is already in the green. So yeah, for this reason we could have already grabbed our clearance before we started our engine, but who cares? Blah 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 blah. 3004. Yeah, put in our GNS, and I can show you guys everything. Yeah, that's nice. All right, flight plan. So here we are. Blah 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 blah. What are we going to do then? Let's just pick Seal Beach, I think. Oh, that's the wrong. Oh, that's Seal SLI. And that's a Seal Beach, yes. 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 And then, yeah, that's also a question that I had a while ago. Because a Victor airway connects one vortex to the other, and we're actually going to complete this airway, I think. Yeah. Or is that also Victor 23? No, Victor 23 actually goes along to Mission Bay as well. I could just set my next fix to Mission or to the Oceanside vortex, right? Because that's the actual chunk that we're going to fly. This chunk. However, it could be, especially because we filed slant Gulf. That ATC is going to assign us to fly towards a particular fix, and so it's helpful to, when you're slant Gulf, to also put in all of those individual fixes. And I guess the chances are very, very slim that that's going to happen, but I am going to do that.
Van Nuys Tower, Skyhawk 210 Alfa Romeo with Juliet at 2,500 feet, 12 miles south. For a full stop.
Yeah, MIDS is not going to be very likely. Let's do Balbo.
Right, report turning base.
Right, downwind for 16 right, report base to 10 Alfa Romeo.
Ball. Oh, bow. Hello. Bobo, intersection. Good. Distance 15, yeah, so that's good. Then Kraus. Crow. No, with a Z. That's how mistakes can happen. With a Z. Boom. Good. Distance 4.5. Yes. Then Dana. Yeah, this stuff just takes some time, but it's part of it. Come on. Wakey, wakey. Dana. Intersection, distance to good. And then Kelps. With a K.
Burbank clearance, Skyline November 3552, Delta clearance to San Bernardino, ready to copy.
There's Kelps. Double check, yes.
Delta,
Yeah.
Burbank clearance to San
Then what I
Bernardino
can
Airport,
do, because we know
departure, Elmu intersects.
we're gonna fly the ILS-24, I can put in our destination airport already, Palomar. Come on, RQ. Yes, and then we can hit procedures, select to approach, ILS-24. Yeah, now we need to request vectors to the ILS-24, so ATC is going to give us a heading and altitude to maintain to get to capture the glide slope. However, if you put that in here on the GNS, it's going to get rid of all of the fixes prior to that final approach capture fix, which is not always handy for situational awareness. So even though we're going to get vectors, I'm not going to load in the vectors variation of the ILS-24 in my GPS. Rather, I'd like to file the Oceanside. Boom. Yeah, this one. Load it. Yeah, we're not going to activate it because we're not there yet. Just load it in. It's from monitoring only. Yes, there we go. Now let's double check. So Seal Beach, Balbo. Balbo, right? Yeah, Kraus, Dana. That's good. Kelps, and the distances work as well. And there's the airport, and then you get the approach. Yeah, so obviously we're going to remove this one. Remove, yeah, boom. And no, I want to double check. Approach, Oceanside, Homely, Escon. Maybe we should double check that as well. Oceanside, yeah, Homely. Now again, we're gonna get vectors, so we're not actually going to fly these fixes, but I want to make sure that my load up is correct. And then runway 24, and then Oceanside again because that's the missed approach. Good. Set it. Just for security, for peace of mind, I wanna save it. Thank you. Okay, good. Thanks. Clear. And it should look familiar. And it does. Wonderful. Okay. Is there anything in terms of GPS management here? Because once we're going to fly, it's going to expect that we're going to fly to Seal Beach, which we're not going to do. We're going to have radar vectors to Victor 23. So most likely I will just going to hit. This is why flying slant alpha is just much more simple, especially for such a flight. You just set the radial and you're going to capture the radial and that's it. But I just love the GPS here, and I just like to learn how to use it also properly. Well, we'll have to see. We'll figure it out. We can also set it on the nav too, and we'll capture it right away. Hey Toto, good to see you. You don't have to almost see unless you're entering a movement area and the airport has ground radar. In real life, more small airports, they don't have ground radar, but just to avoid confusion, the FRA makes you just squawk mode see as soon as you Roger, regardless of what airport you are at. Thanks, Toto. Makes sense. Also, great work with the TVM. I watched a video by Matt Davies a while ago when you were instructing him or guiding him starting up the aircraft. Wow. I totally agree with Matt. Your TBM is A2A plus quality. Amazing. And that in 1 year of development, it just blows my mind. Yeah, great work. So why would that remove previous? So why would that remove previous waypoints? Don't know what you're referring to, Kim. That's a great fixed name. Homely. You're only me because you're homely. Exactly. Okay, so that's put in. Makes sense. Back to this chart. That's good. We can move to switch to 120.8. That's ground, and most likely we're going to switch to 119.9 for tower 420 left. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, I do like to set some radials or some VORs already. For example, Seal Beach, and that is 115.7. Doesn't matter nav 1, nav 2. No, it doesn't really matter that much. 115.7 it was. And switch nav 1, there you go. And we can also listen already. Yep, that's verified. We can also see there on the GPS, obviously. You can see Seal Beach there, but it's just nice to listen to the Morse code. Gives you a little bit of an astronaut kind of feeling. Okay, so that's set, and we're going to fly 23, and that is going to be a radial of 120. You can flip the GPS button. We're just going to fly the needle reference to the GPS. But this is fine as well. 120, yeah, that's fine. Okay, and I'd like to have ocean side as well, which is going to be ocean side 115.3. 115.3 on the nav 2. Very good. It's also set. We can also set that to 1, 2, but then inverted, I guess. But it doesn't really matter that much. 1, 2. Yeah, and it's also going to serve as our missed approach. Ocean side is also part of our missed approach procedure, so that's what we're going to use as well. We need to reset it to another radial, but still. Okay, so this is fine. We can just fly this radial once we depart it, and then fiddle around with the GPS to get it synced with our flight. Keaton, so if you're not going to Seal Beach, why do you have to set it as a waypoint? Keaton, because we're going to fly the Victor 23 airway, right? So this highway in the sky, Victor 23, and it's connected between the Seal Beach VORTEC and the Oceanside VORTEC. So even though we're not going to fly actually towards the Seal Beach VORTEC, we are going to use the VORTEC because we're going to fly that radial off of Seal Beach that represents the Victor 23 airway, as you can see. And so that's why I set it in, so we can fly it on the radial as well next to our GPS. That's why. Yeah. Good. So, Scratchpad, I'm not really that interested in the clearance anymore for now. Let's get our taxi going. It's going slow pace here, but I like it. It's Monday. Hope you all had a great Monday, guys, or having a great Monday here in the Netherlands. It's already 8 o'clock in the evening, so I did my Monday already. Good. Double check. After engine, mixture transponder, we set radios, we set OBSs, we set GPS, we set, and also saved instruments. Yeah, we already synced those, but they're still in sync, I think. 2-1 and a bit. Well, we already have a bit of a gyro drift there. Altimeter was set, fuel and engine warm. Yes, still good. Taxi diagram we already looked at, and surface winds. Not quite sure actually. There we are. Well, they're pretty significant, I guess, and they would favor a different runway, which is always a bummer. Or always a bummer. Yeah. It's nice that we have these great add-ons that make the clouds look more puffy and the skies more fancy. But what I really like is to have a much more fancy, more sophisticated, more true weather engine. because many times it doesn't fit real weather at all, which is a bit annoying. In any case, did this, and yeah, ready to go. And grounds, yeah. Come one on. Listen for a break here, wait for a break. 1 to 0.8, yes. John Wayne ground, good day. Sky Papa Delta Tango Mike at Atlantic with Foxtrot ready to taxi.
Papa Delta Tango India Mike John runway 20 left to Kilo taxi Alpha Hotel Charlie.
20 left at Kilo Alpha Hotel Charlie. We'd also like to visit the midfield run-up first, if that's okay.
Papa Delta Tango India Mike Roger. In that case, just request your initial taxi to the midfield run-up. That way we don't have to reissue the taxi instructions. Taxi to the midfield run-up via Alpha.
Via Alpha to midfield, and got that, Papa Delta Tango Mike. Okay. Good. Parking brakes released. Brakes work. And let's turn around. X-Plane has a little bit trouble with loading stuff, I guess. Come on, X-Plane, you can do this. Turn indicator, slip indicator works, heading indicator works. I do like to reset my attitude indicator here. Via Alpha to the midfield run up. Clear.
.4445 heavy fly heading 090 descend and maintain 4000.
Okay, looks good. So I'm familiar with this airport. In cases when I visit an airport that I haven't visited before, or just a few times, and I'm still a little bit unclear.
Charlie Romeo.
I always get the taxi diagram and plot out how I need to taxi, just in case.
To run-up area from Pinnacle Aviation. We'll be departing to the Northport Henderson, and would like flight following.
468 Charlie Romeo, say type aircraft and cruising altitude.
It's a
So this is the Southfield, South End run-up.
9,500.
468 Charlie Romeo, departure frequency 119.6, clock 1770.
What a wonderful airport.
Departure frequency 119.6.
Great scenery as well.
Squawk 7700.
Great Charlie Romeo negative, squawk 1770.
Thanks. 1700.
Great Charlie Romeo negative, 1770.
1770, thank you.
Great Charlie Romeo, read back correct runway 24 taxi via Alpha.
Alright, here's our
Taxi via Alpha, November.
midfield run-up.
Holding short of 8, ready
40 Charlie Romeo.
Number request number 8 Charlie Romeo, read back runway 7, runway 24 taxi via Alpha.
Okay.
Taxi via Alpha to
the wind.
24.
Engine is already in the green, that's good.
Charlie Romeo.
So make sure full in. 1800. There we go. No initiator messages. Air pressure still good. Vacuum is good. Left mag, good enough drop. Back to both. Right mag, comparable. Drop. Good. Back to both. Go down. Oil pressure is still good. No initiator messages. Very good. I also like to check my controls here to
uniform Papa Good, Visual approach runway 1908.
Down and up. Elevators look good. Trim works as well, and my rudders work too. Perfect. Anything else for the run-up? No, that's all set. Good. Then we can continue our taxi. And jamming ground, Sky Papa Delta Tango Mike at the midfield run-up. I'd like to continue our taxi to 20 left at Kilo.
Papa Delta Tango Mike, 20 left at Kilo taxi via hotel, or taxi via Charlie.
Via Hotel Charlie to 20 left at Kilo Papa Delta Tango Mike. There we go. So that's proper proper procedure. And yeah, as the controller already mentioned, I should have already, my initial call should already be to the midfield run-up. I just forgot and then I corrected. But it's I really like the fact that PilotEdge as a network, that the controllers, also Joe and Marcus, not only give comments to correct you, but sometimes also advise you, like, hey, you should actually do this the other way around, or it's really a training network.
This is a Cessna 172
It's really, really nice, I think.
Request a flight following for John Wayne. I will fly at 5,500 feet for the second part of the Cat 10.
We're 2 and 0 from you.
Okay, so we're coming up to Kilo. At 1,000 feet MSL, as you can see on my altimeter, 1,000 feet AGL, 1,000 feet MSL.
210 Alfa Romeo.
Before 1,000 feet MSL, we need to, in case of an engine out,
Over to departure 52 Delta.
we need to pick a crash field, 30 degrees left or right, or 60 degrees, I think. We should not turn around to the field because that's something that we're not going to survive. So that's important in case of an engine out before 1,000 feet. Go forward. Let's also get our notes. I think it was 175 for the heading and 5,000 for the climb. All right. At Kilo. There we go. Again, 1,000. Let's double check.
Contact climb, maintain 5,000.
175 exactly. 17.
Marine 7 uniform, public contact Las Vegas Tower 118.75.
And 5,000, and we can switch to tower and set our departure frequency 128.1. That's set. We have our radial set. That's 120. That's from. That's good. And for the F2 also we set our transponder is set. Frequencies are set indeed. Let's double sync 1255-ish. Yeah, we do have some significant drift here. Good. 175 and 5,000. Yeah, pretty good. I think we're ready to go. Lights, and then obviously time, like Step in the Ball mentioned. Departure emergency, we already briefed that. So landing lights on, strobe lights on, and time is now 1816. 1816. Even though we didn't have a expect altitude, by the way. So this is actually not that relevant. We just got climbed to 5,000. So in any case, we're going to go to 5,000. But it's always good, I guess, as part of your habit to always note the time before departure. 119.9, just double check. 119.9, that's good. Everything is set. Engine was good. Yeah, we're ready to go. Mixture full in. Let's get going, guys. I-2 rating. And Jawin Tower, Sky Papa Delta Tango Mike is only sure 20 left at Kilo, ready for departure IFR. Thanks for the follow, Arizona Aviator. Thanks.
Back Papa Delta Tango India Mike, runway 20 left at Kilo, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 20 left at Kilo, Papa Delta Tango Mike. Good.
Delta 4445, 5 mile to Mokane, fly heading 240, maintain 4,000.
Still double check, no one's on final.
Cleared, localize runway 27.
No one is on the runway. Mixture full in, lights are on. Good. Aligned. Matches our heading indicator as well. Full power. Strong winds there. Engine is in the green. Good. Whoa, gusty winds. Oh my gosh, 40, 50, 60. And rotate. Dancing on those pedals. My gosh. Goes down. Let's get up. Already past the end of the runway here, but not 400 feet.
Palmark Tower, November 648 Charlie Romeo, holding short runway 24.
Number 648 Charlie Romeo Palomar, turn runway 24.
Flaps are still up.
24 clear for takeoff. 64 Charlie Romeo.
400 feet. Let's go to 175. Standard rate turn. 175. Expecting that switch to departure.
Las Vegas Tower, memory 7 uniform Papa clear 19 right at Sierra. Request taxi to the west side hangars.
Ray 7 uniform Papa, taxi parking via Sierra Hotel will be a pass for the I-5.
Active needle there for the Seal Beach.
Thank you for the pass. 7 uniform Papa.
Let's see if we can pass this rating.
Alaska Golf calling you, radio loud and clear. Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, contact departure.
Departure Hotel Tango Mike. Switch. Listen. So-called departure, Sky Papa Hotel Tango India Mike climbing through 1004, 5000.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, hotel departure, radar contact.
Roger. Okay. So 175. We're now passing Victor 23, as you can see on the needle here. You can also see it on the GPS. So even though we got, that's also important, I guess, or not that obvious. Even though we got for our clearance radar vectors to Victor 23, that doesn't mean now that we can also capture it.
Number 648 Charlie Romeo, contact departure.
I think. Because then we need to hear join Victor 23. And that's not what the ADC said. So we're just going to fly along. We passed now Victor 23.
Delta 4445 Heavy, contact Lindbergh Tower.
And we're going to wait for a different vector and the instruction. Or clearance or whatever. It's not a clearance. To join Victor 23, if I'm right. Thanks for the follows, guys. Hand, thank you.
Delta 4445 Heavy, Lindbergh Tower, runway 27, clear to land. Number 648 Charlie Romeo, SoCal
175 checked, altimeter is good, speed is good, temperature is good, fuel is good, EGT is goodish. At 3000 we're going to use our mixture. Temperature is good, pressure is good, vacuum is good, amps are good, circuit breakers are goodish, landing lights can be turned off.
Tango India Mike, fly heading 090, join Victor 23, resume on navigation.
090 and Victor, join Victor 23 and resume on nav, Papa Delta Mike. Alright, 090. Let's continue our climb to 5000. Yeah, so as expected.
We're 210 from you, runway 16 right, clear for takeoff.
Thanks for the follows, guys. You're so kind. Hope you're all doing well. It's a bit too much of a nose up pitch. Pitch up way. AV, thanks for the follow. Okay, still flying a vector. Our mission is to capture the needle there. And at around 3000 feet MSL we can start leaning. If you look at our EGT, it's not that good. And then we're going to fiddle around with the GPS. Not that it's that relevant or essential to our flight, but come on, keep our 500 feet climb here. That's what ATC is expecting of us. Wonderful scenery here, by the way. 3000, good. Let's lean now.
And if there's an aircraft attempt to call, you're completely unreadable.
There goes the
Number
EGT.
3552 Delta, contact SoCal approach 135.4. Number 8906 Yankee Hotel,
Yeah, Kim.
contact Los Angeles Center 126.35.
Actually fly the Slant Alpha version of the 172 by Miniwebs. But because I also have the hardware here, it's just nice to have it in sync. Neil is coming in. we can go direct to crowds. That's what we can do in just a moment. (1,500 feet to go). There's our
Bird 355
needle.
Cleared ILS runway 6 approach.
So now we're going to fly 120.
Bird 516 QTEL, Los Angeles Center, Resort Palm
Just to
Springs,
be
altimeter
precise,
2988.
you can see that my OBS is not properly set, and it makes a difference. So that's interesting. Okay, so just a little bit more of a capture there.
MC McClellan Palomar Information Golf. 1700 Zulu weather. Wind 030 at 5. Visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 9,700.
Delta 4445 heavy taxi, parking via Bravo, remain to 50 feet.
Dew point -4. Altimeter 2992. Arriving runway 06. Departing runway.
Good. Got the weather already. Got golf, a 902 for the altimeter. And still in the climb, 1,000 feet to go. Flight plan. Click. Crowds. Direct. 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 Yes, are we now going direct? Oh. No, we're still going to Seal Beach, as you can see. Yeah, it's still a white line. Interesting. Again. Still going to capture that needle now. Just going to be wary. Also 500 feet to go until we reach our cruising altitude. And these are Tim-like times to mess up, because even though I'm about to do some new stabilization stuff here with my airplane, I then get curious and distract myself with other stuff that can wait for just a few seconds, and then I miss my needle or my target cruising altitude, and so that's not going to happen today. And as we climb, we can also further lean our mixture. Cessna has a hard time here keeping up with our 500 feet per minute. Tim likes times. Hey Crash, good to see you. Your cockpit hardware, cockpit in development looks really, really great, man. Good work. And there comes 5,000. Good. Push down. And keep our power setting as is. And increase our speed here to cruising speed. I filed 105. So we can be 10 plus or 10 minus on average. There goes our speed. Need to apply nose down trim. There we go. Then let's reset our RPM to about 2300. And just to get our true airspeed going, 5-ish. Yeah, so we're about 105 true airspeed. Good. And on the needle. Nice. Again, crowds are already past crowds, I guess. I'm not really sure. But again, direct, 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 enter. Ah, that's how it works. Okay, so don't keep pressing direct. That's the idea. So, flight plan. Dana. Direct, direct, and then enter. There you go. Good. So now the GPS knows what we're up to. Okay. pretty stable here. Double check again. Compass 120, heading indicators 120. That's good. Altimeter is still set.
GPS 285, Los Angeles Center Defender.
EGT is good. Can perhaps be a bit better. No, we cannot.
GPS 285 to Blythe altimeter. If he doesn't want to come up for me, stand by.
So that's good. Quantity is good. Temps are good. Pressure is good. Vacuum is good. M is good. Circuit breakers are good. They're not interactive, but still, lights are good. We don't need any pitot heat. And what are we doing? We're flying the needle to Oceanside. Already our approach is set in. We can now start briefing. We already have the altimeter setting, also the weather information, golf, charts. There we go. So most likely we're not going to fly, or we're pretty sure we're not going to fly the full approach, the full ILS approach. We're going to get vectors. We need to request vectors.
Runway 27 taxi via Alpha Charlie.
So the Z. Let's look at the remarks, as Keith instructed us to do. Does not apply to straight in. Okay, autopilot coupled approach. Yeah, that's interesting. So apparently there are ILSs where the glide slope reception, at least for your airplane, is not that reliable, and so it can quickly vary greatly, the glide slope information, or even the localizer. I'm not really sure. So if you're flying on autopilot, by the way, you can also change our. Boom, there we go. Change my GPS mode to from VLOC to GPS now. Flying your approach with the autopilot there can actually be quite dangerous. So you need to fly it without the autopilot, which we already plan to do. But that's what that means. So that's what that means. Helicopter visibility, blah blah, RVR. The airport light system for in-up, yeah. Okay, good. ATIS, we already checked. Watch my descent here. Just keep my airplane flying like it should. Okay, good enough. Yeah, then the misapproach, climb to 3000 heading 245, so that's pretty much runway heading.
620 contact Las Vegas approach 125.9er.
And on Oceana Vortec, yeah, 145. 145, there you go. We're already on track, obviously. Or at least here we were already on track, so I set this now to 145.
Alaska 620, contact Las Vegas approach.
Don't want to descend. Plan view, yes. So vectors, airport is basic. Nothing that I need to look at. Well, the tower lights are at the left. Then the profile view. Again, keep my altitude right here. ESCON 3,300.
620 Las Vegas approach, expected visual approach runway 26 left.
In our case, we're going to get vector to the final approach fix, which is SIDRU, and SIDRU is not really referenced by radials, if I'm correct here. It starts from ESCON, which is not really that relevant for us. So there's no need for us to set the nav2 to match those radials, because we're not going to use those fixes. That was the issue that I had with the previous flights. So in this case also we have GPS, obviously, so we know what we're doing. But yeah. So I'm not flying 2300 RPM. That might explain why I'm all over the place with my altitude. That's why I need to keep trimming and keep attention. Yes. SIDRU, that's the one that we're looking for. SIDRU, 2300. That's good.
Runway 30 taxi via Alpha.
And our decision height, decision altitude for the straight-in ILS 24 is 527. 527. Okay, so if we are down on the ILS and we don't spot the airport, the runway, lights, or any kind of, there are elements to spot or identify. If we don't spot those, we need to execute the missed approach. Straight ahead 3,000 feet and capture that 145 radial oceanside. Now I think we briefed it. That was much better than last time. Now let's execute it. So, because we're already coming up to oceanside,
now left circle calling gets better,
also
but still
Palomar
pretty
Airport,
wide if you could just turn up
we're
your
going to be
volume.
switched over to another approach frequency. We can already mention Foxtrot, or that we have Golf. Perhaps you're going to get a approach request as well, or the approach controller already knows that we're flying the I-2 and says, well, you're gonna expect vectors for the,
S2.E55, IFR can say 50,
for the ILS-24. We'll have to see. Thanks, Dad, for reminding Step. Yeah, it's gonna be beer time in Orlando. Also, my GPS saying 7 knots wind there. Or there, here, at this altitude, 7 knots coming from the right. And again, I've set my GPS here to, or my nav here, or my VOR to GPS mode. So we just fly radials, but those are sourced by from the GPS.
For 1774 Papa, that's still better. You're sort of barely readable now.
Yeah, that was a good approach brief. Again, headings 1, 2,
Yeah, that last transition
0.
became unintelligible
Still
at the end of it.
synced. Altimeter is good. Speed is goodish. We're going quite fast actually. That's because we have more than 2300. Temperature is good, no pitot heat necessary. Fuel quantity is good, EGT is good, fuel flow is good, temps are good, pressure is good, vacuum is good, ammeters are good, circuit breakers, blah blah blah. Lights are good. And we know what we are doing because we're flying on 5,000 feet radial inbound to oceanside. If we would switched over to the oceanside VOR, if we were flying slant alpha, we know the altimeter, we briefed the approach. And so we should also enjoy the outside view. Look at this restricted area. Oh man, I love flight simulation, guys. Ah, this is so cool. Alright, still waiting for that switch over. Again, there goes the descent again, so I'm wiggling in between 100 feet. I think that the legal limit is 300 feet. So if you're off by 300 feet of your cruising altitude, then you have a flight deviation. But I mean, I remember Keith flying just on the mark, spot on, nicely trimmed in a rain cloud. That was really mastery. It was so cool. So yeah, even though we're still within the limits.
357 Mike uniform, send him return, rate 30, clear for takeoff. Aircraft calling Santa Barbara approach, go ahead.
The I-2 rating is part of a series of check rides that PilotEdge is offering us sim pilots to complete. And PilotEdge is an online multiplayer network where you can fly the sim, like I'm doing right now, but with ATC government. So you actually need to chat with air traffic controllers and fly with others online, like real world pilots would do. And the I-2 rating is a check ride, an exam, so to say. The second in a series of 11 or 10 ratings, actually. Thanks for the follow, Diamond. Thanks. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for the follows. Hoping that also recharges my spirit to actually pass for this I-2 rating. I really would like to do. And again, we're coming up to Oceanside.
Upper read that correct. Clearance forward is not everyone by 1855 Zulu.
Interesting, by the way, because then our approach would start, and we're not cleared for the approach. Let's give him a heads up. And Sokol approach, Kart Hotel Tango Mike is still level 5000 approaching Oceanside for Palomar.
Hotel Tango India Mike, flight heading 070, descend and maintain 4000 when able, say approach request.
070 and 4000. We'd like to get vectors for the ILS 24, please.
Hotel Tango Mike, correct, you can expect that.
Thanks. Alright, there we go.
For 3552 Delta, contact
070. Now, rather than putting my throttle, pulling my throttle, I am actually just pointing my nose down. Now that's mostly something to do to keep up your airspeed in Charlie and Bravo airports because of other jets that fly much faster than our Sky 172. Now because we're now flying at a Delta airport at Palomar, that's not that necessary. So there we go. And again, 75 checked, altimeter is good. Temperature is good. Now we're descending, so we need to look for that mixture because otherwise we're going to choke the engine. Quantity, temps, pressure, vacuum, amps. We can put on our landing lights because we're on the approach. Now and again, I'm not that concerned with the chart at all now, the approach, because we're just flying vectors. IATC is going to vector us onto the glide slope, which is good. We can also go to, yeah, that's what I want to do. Activate the approach. Yes, thank you. In a way, we don't need the GPS at all. There's 4000 coming up. We can just use the ILS, obviously. I think I'm going to do that. Oh, this one.
Yeah, 241, read back correct.
And it's not really set still.
We're 648 Charlie Romeo,
this is not the right frequency.
135.4.
Okay, let's stabilize. That's good. What's our frequency? 108.7.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, contact SoCal approach 119.6.
119.6, Papa Hotel Tango Mike. 119.6. Sokol approach, Kart Hotel Tango Mike is level 4000, heading 070 for the vectors for ILS 24.
Hotel Tango India Mike, SoCal approach, only need to report the altitude on the second, the rest of the stuff we already know.
We'll go, Papa Tango.
Number 9617 Whiskey Riverside Tower,
cool.
Traffic report.
That's something that Keith mentioned as well, that I'm including too much information so I can be more quick and concise, which is in everyone's advantage. 108.7, right? That's set currently. Nice. So that means...
648 Charlie Romeo, SoCal approach, Roger. 4978 Alpha Papa Santa Barbara approach ident.
Let me see, 4000. Yeah, so we don't have a reading for the ILS just yet. I put on my nav1 audio thing, so as soon as I hear beeping, I know that we have a active ILS. At least I hope. 4070. Now, if I look at my compass, it's not really extinct. We're now at 75. So 075 we are. Again, speeds, temperature good, HET, also still good fuel flows, good temps, pressure, vacuum emitter, lights are on, good. It's good 4000, we're on vectors, ILS, and I should have also mentioned that I had Golf, by the way. Or the controller should have asked me that whether I had the weather. Exactly, Kim, exactly. I was on 080, not 070. And watch that altitude. Okay, again, 527 is going to be our decision altitude. See-Drew is going to be our capture point, 2300s.
The altitude is, and you can say location. It'll save us from having to have you ident the transponder, but it's not mandatory.
Yeah, indeed, we're going fast. But that's not too bad.
West runway 27 cleared for the option.
Still waiting for that ILS to come in. Usually when you fly away from the ILS, the ILS has a very narrow kind of reception area thing. So as soon as we turn around, we're most likely to capture the ILS. Or see the, get a signal from the ILS. In this case, I would also like to have a DME. Because then I can see if we can already pick up the DME of the ILS. Alright, everything is still okay. 4000, 070. We're pretty much flying a downwind leg again, only by IFR. You know, our runway is 24.
Alaska 620, go ahead and turn to your base there.
So we're flying parallel to the runway. And then we're going to get assigned a heading, I guess, of 200 or something.
Alaska 620, I just want to verify you still have the airport in sight as you've flown quite a ways out there.
Perhaps first 180, something like that. So we can capture the glide slope, or the localizer actually, with an angle of 30, 20, 40 degrees, something like that. Alright, again, we got the weather.
Yeah, that'd be the mistake. Yeah, when you're on the bit, we're expecting you to be turning base, really not much later than the Boulder City VOR and descending down. But if you liked it, you're clear for the ILS on May 25 left.
Lights are on, everything's on.
May 26 left to bridge.
I think we're right, but I think we are nicely prepped. There's Palomar over there. Not a lot of time to just enjoy the view, like when we're flying IFR. I'm really focused on my my instruments.
Las Vegas ground, stay position.
108.7, double check.
Actually, runway 26 right, taxi via Gulf Bravo.
108.7. $527. There's the signal. I don't know if you guys can hear, but I hear the Morse code. Because I don't pick it up on my GPS, I want to check.
6999 Juliet, Santa Barbara. Can I say the San Luis Obispo Airport, 5 runway heading grid vectors Gaviota VOR, then is filed. Maintain 3,000, expect 6,000.
Yeah, that's identified. Good.
Departure frequency 120.55, squawk 4144.
So we also know that we got the right ILS. No need to turn on the OBS or to turn it because it's not really reacting. There's only one way to fly that ILS. So this is good. Mountain's coming up, so at any time now I expect a turn to the right.
Turn 6999 Juliet, read that correct.
Yeah, step on the ball, yeah.
Number 357, Mike Uniform, Santa Barbara approach, squawk 3210.
Again, watch my altitude there. Altimeter, landing lights, mixtures, this is all what we checked.
We're 816
Yeah.
Hotel, contact Los Angeles Center 134.65. Rowan Whiskey runway 27 cleared for the option.
Come on. You lost the altitude and now you're gaining it already because we're at a higher speed, obviously, because we descended 100 feet or two.
Number 816 Hotel, Los Angeles Center.
Alright, at any time now, right turn.
For 357, Mike Uniform, radar contact 11 miles east of the Santa Maria Park. See, I didn't, I didn't ask you to I didn't. Don't I didn't unless you're told to do so.
Bring it on.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, turn right heading 190.
Right heading 190, Papa Delta Mike. Stand a return. That's our base leg in a way. Well, yeah, semi base final turn. Look at that scenery. This is such a lovely area to fly. And there's our glide slope indication as well. Don't descend too much, Tim. There we go. 4,000. We're gonna read. Got the weather.
To the San Francisco International Airport, Padres to departure IK transition, then it's filed.
Tower. It's gonna be 118.6.
Expect flight level 400. 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 119.6. Squawk 5024.
0.6 in the standby, so we can switch to tower while we're doing busy things, catching the ILS. Lights are on. Mixture still good for 4,000. Get that heading going still. Synced 19er. Seems good.
Altitude at
Engine was good. Yeah. Eight knot winds. It's going to be a interesting landing, guys.
Around 72 Tango, Los Angeles clearance on departure, fly runway heading, maintain VFR out of below 3000, departure frequency 125.2, squawk 6275.
Come on, stay 19er.
Around 72 Tango, read back correct. Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, 3 miles from Escon, fly heading 220, maintain 4000 until established on the localizer, cleared localizer runway 27 approach.
220 on the heading, 4,000 until established and cleared for the ILS 24 approach. Papa Delta Mike.
Alaska 620, contact Las Vegas Tower.
220. Now, if I would really be pro, I would have already turned and responded to that.
Runway 27 cleared for the option.
There's the capture. And there we go. 245. Good. I I would have already responded while I was making the turn. Execute the turn first. Okay, 4,000. There comes the glide slope. And again, we're at 4,000. We're at Epscon, which is interesting. Epscon or Escon 3,300. Yes. I'm just aware of that remark that Keith made last time. Sometimes, the step downs do not align with the GPS glide slope. Usually they do, but so I was double checking whether I was already allowed to descend down.
Yeah, 241 Las Vegas Tower, runway 26, right, clear for takeoff.
Alright, we're going down, so make sure full in. Lights are on, everything is set. Towers in standby. Double check, 118.6, yes, we're on the localizer, capturing the glide slope. There's 3,300, Epscon we're already past, so yeah, seems like we're on the right track. But let's really capture that ILS here. That glide slope part.
Papa Hotel Tango India, Mike, contact Palomar Tower.
Over the tower, Papa Hotel Tango Mike. Switch.
357 Mike Uniform, contact Los Santos Center, 135.5.
And Palomar Tower, good day, Sky Papa Hotel Tango Mike is on the ILS 24.
Papa Hotel Tango India, Mike, Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land.
Clear land 24, Papa Hotel Tango Mike. Good.
Suburban ground arrow 699 Juliet.
Alright, looking for that 527. Obviously we have good weather, but just for practice sake.
And the last part calling say call sign only.
699 Juliet.
High speed still, but that's fine. Good practice.
25 taxi via Charlie Juliet.
25 Charlie Juliet for 699 Juliet.
On the mark. Rather be a bit above the glide slope than underneath.
We're 357 Mike Uniform, Los Santos Center.
Like an astronaut.
Good morning, information Lima. Request IFR clearance to Fresno.
We're 710 Delta Sierra, got enough on file for you. United 241, contact departure.
Port of our train at 241.
Looking good still.
10 Delta Sierra should have come through now.
Cross-sector altimeter, good one. I totally forgot.
Delta Sierra,
totally forgot, guys. And I predicted it right.
Maintain 7,000, expect flight
because I'm so focused on flying the glide slope.
Departure frequency 119.6.
I don't allow myself to think about other things. And that's yeah. Good one.
Maintain 7,000, expect flight level 2007 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 119.6, score 1763, November 710 Delta Sierra.
7 Delta Sierra, read back correct.
Yeah, so I should find a way to incorporate that.
Yeah, 241, Los Angeles departure, radar contact.
Okay, come on.
Number 9617 Whiskey, taxi parking via Gulf, good day.
Still looking at my instruments only. Oh, that's not good. That's not what I want to be. Slow, good.
Alaska 620, clearly active, Alpha 6.
Come on.
Alaska 620, taxi parking via Alpha, actually you're on Alpha 5 there, Alpha 5, Charlie, cross runway 26, right?
Good. 500 feet to go, actually a bit less. Come on. Not looking outside.
Alpha 5, Charlie.
Well, not your flaps. Let's use that to capture the glide slope. Oh man, this is so cool. There goes the speed. Good. No going down too fast, Tim. There's the white band. Almost 525. Yeah, this is the hardest one, the 20-degree flap. Watch my speed there. Oh man. 5-2, and we look outside, we see the runway, continue the approach.
And I think I'm calling for clearance, say call sign.
Yeah, so that's something that I could still practice.
Yeah, there's no aircraft on the network with that call sign. You can just log off and double check your call sign.
There's my full flaps, and we do have a crosswind, so 20 degrees of flaps would have been fine as well. Makes myself a bit harder flying with full flaps.
We're 172 Tango Tango Los Angeles, runway 25 left, clear for takeoff.
25 left, clear for takeoff, 72 Tango Tango.
Alright, let's see if we can do this, guys. Crosswind landing.
Try now.
Alright, left rudder. Right ailerons.
We're 40 Juliet Foxtrot, transferring clear to Havana.
That was not bad.
Runway heading, join the Los Angeles 170 degree
right
radial to
ailerons
Limbo
full.
intersection. Victor
Flaps up.
64.
You can see
Santa
how
Monica
strong the winds
125
are
radial,
actually.
Santa Monica VOR.
Dancing on the
then
pedals.
Climb and maintain 3,000. Expect 4,000. 1 minutes after departure.
And we made it.
Departure frequency 134.9er. Squawk 3567.
Oh, we're gonna go here. That's fine too.
Pantera 40 Juliet Foxtrot, cleared to Van Nuys, on departure fly runway heading, intercept the Los Angeles 170
here we are.
radio.
1,000
to Limbo, Victor 64.
Still on tower, my gosh.
To intercept the Santa Monica 125 radio, and then direct to Canog.
Thanks, Crash.
Departure, or climb and maintain 3,000, expect 4,000.
Ground 121.8.
Departure frequency 134.9er, and
I guess we don't need to switch over to ground.
Radio, Santa Monica VOR, then it's filed.
Make sure for ground, flaps are up.
Santa Monica VOR, then
lights off, strobe lights
40 Juliet Foxtrot.
40 Juliet Foxtrot, read back correct.
And Palomar Tower, Sky Papa Hotel Tango Mike is clear of 24. Taxi to the tower.
Papa Hotel Tango Indy Mike, taxi parking the Alpha, it's pass for the I-2.
Via Alpha to parking, and thanks for the pass, and thanks for the communication tips as well. I appreciate it. Papa Hotel Mike. Okay, good. We passed. Yes. That was good. But I am a bit frustrated about forgetting the altimeter cross-check. Because I so said it. I said it before I took off, right? And like I predicted, I was so involved with flying that needle and the GPS. I'm so fixated. Thanks, guys. Kim, thank you for the bits. Appreciate it. Don't know why my overlay is not working properly there.
Taxi via Bravo.
Need to look that up. Thanks, appreciate it. But yeah, that's something that I need to. Still, flying the ILS or just an approach takes up in my case takes up a lot of mental space, and I don't feel that I have some CPU processes left in my brain to overthink what I'm doing or need to be doing, and then this stuff happens. Let's park over, and then let's park over that side. There's a Cessna Skyhawk that we can join. Kai Dolphin, and thanks for the follow. Appreciate it, guys. A lot of follows today. It's
Number 172 Tango Tango, contact departure.
Switching to departure.
Yeah, look at those winds.
Tango, good day.
Considering those winds, I did pretty well with the landing. I had a couple of crosswind landings before.
172 Tango Tango, SoCal departure, radar contact.
We're already in the non-movement area, so I can do whatever. But I do like to park near a other sky. Let's go. Okay. Also, fuel truck is already ready, waiting for us. Past the I-2, yay!
Ground Delta 235, shuttle Bravo with the weather.
Bum. Good.
6 right Charlie Romeo.
I think we're
Center, the
not that straight on the line, to be honest. Anyways, good. Transponder, avionics, yeah, exactly. So first, transponder off.
235, shut off Bravo with the weather.
VFR. Let's switch off our radios. Avionics off. Mag test. I see RPM is sensitive, and there we go. Boom! Magnetos off. Batteries off. Park and brake sets. Prevent cross. Especially, well, that's interesting, by the way. Especially in this case, you can see on the ramp that we're tilted down to the left, right? And this whole procedure of setting your fuel selector to either the left or the right is to prevent cross-feeding. We've got tanks, obviously, here in the wings, and those are influenced by gravity. So we don't like that fuel to go all over the place, and that's why we can set either to the left or to the right, or in some cases you also have an off set, and that would also be good. You can also pull out the fuel cutoff. But in this case, our left wing is down, so I think I'm right that we should put it to the left, because now the right tank is shut off, because we're only using the left. So always put it into the lower wing side, and in this case it's relevant because you can see we're tilted to the left. Just a small thing. I don't think that explains actually that it's actually going to simulate that. I'm not sure. Okay, and then walk around, post-flight, pitot tube cover, tie downs, I don't really care, chocks, and on the other side as well. Good, and that completes our flight. Wow. The altimeter cross-check, yeah, that's going to be the challenge for the next flight. How in heaven's name am I going to incorporate that, guys? I'm so focused on the GPS and flying there, that approach. So one thing I thought while I was taxiing, like, okay, perhaps I can remember the altitude at which I should do my check, but that's obviously not going to work, because that's what the whole check is about. Perhaps my altimeter setting is off, right? Off from what it should be at. So I should really remember that 6.5 DME. Now I don't have DME here, but I did have GPS, so I could have been perfectly aware of where a see-through was. Also means, by the way, that during my flight I mentioned that I didn't have DME, and I thought, well, we can just fly the ILS as well here. But officially there, I should have actually activated my approach. I think I did activate my approach, but I should also have been looking at my GPS specifically for that reason, so that I was aware where see-through was. I think I could have zoomed into my GPS, but that's something that I totally forgot. So in a way, I was just focusing. I thought, well, if I have the needles, the glide slope, and the localizer, I can practically fly the approach, which I did. But in terms of legal flying, I had no idea. I was not aware of see-through at all. So I made the same mistake. Funny enough, I was aware when we were instructed to fly the approach of ESCON here, and at 3300, and I was aware of those step downs, but yeah, I wasn't aware of the most important procedural bit of that approach, and that was being aware of see-through. Yeah, so that's going to be the challenge for next time. It's very interesting. Kim, for the review, can you have a look at your altitude at see-through? I think I can, but I don't know if the GPS is actually going to work with us. We can have a look, Kim. It's a good question, or good request.
Aircraft 1, number 699 Juliet.
All right, let's switch off the COM1. Let's also disconnect from PilotEdge. Just going to wait and allow the Garmin to start up, and then we're going to use the flight recorder and go back and to see what altitude I actually was. Okay. Well, my flight plan should have been removed. However, we did save it, right? So, boom. I'll put it here. No, it's number 4. Yes. On KSNA, Kelps, approach. Yes, looks good. Clear. Alright, I guess I don't know how to actually load a flight plan. Again, boom. Yes, this is the one that I want to load. Oh, now I'm editing it. Okay. So flight plan. Again, going to this page. Click, going to the one that I want, and then menu. Activate flight plan. Yes, thank you. And now I go back, and now it should be there. Yes. And also the approach. Yes, also see the approach. You can see see-through. Okay. I think you were below 2300 there too. All right. Let's have a look. Let's also close the door. For aesthetics, in either case, we're going to be flying with a Peter tube cover, but who cares? The recorder. Where are we? See-through, yeah. See-through. Pour 4, and you can see here 2300s. On the mark. And here I should have said cross check 2300s. Looked at my plate 2300. All right. So it was on the money. Yeah, but it was a good remark, Kim, or a request to verify. I also noticed that it's good for my own thinking, actually. What a beauty. And what a nice scenery. I want to see that crosswind landing. That was nice. A bit more right rudder. And again, when you're doing, this was a bit too much of right ailerons. The tempting thing when doing crosswind landings is that as soon as you touch down, you think, oh, I completed my crosswind landing, and you let go of your aileron correction and perhaps also your rudder correction, and then you skid off the runway and you crash. And so it's very important that you keep in that aileron aileron deflection, crosswind correction, even when you're on the runway. Other things, guys. Other things. So yeah, the 2300 matched, but I should have been aware of that point and cross-checked. In terms of A to C, it was fine. Well, the remarks obviously by the controller was that I am providing too much information, something that Keith was mentioning as well. First, with my taxi, I should have just asked for the midfield run-up first, rather than first the clearance to get going. That was just my bad, because I just forgot about our intentions to visit the midfield run-up first. But okay. But also with the switch, I think the switch to approach when we were on that downwind leg of Palomar, when we switched over to 119.6, and I said, here we are, we're level at 4,000, heading 070, and vectors for the ILS-24 approach. That's all information that that's information that ADC already has. They know what we're doing because we're IFR, right? In any case. Same would apply, I guess, to VFR and those kinds of settings. The only thing that they need to know is your altitude. So level 4,000, done. I guess. So that's important. Question for the IFR text. Shouldn't the outer marker beep? I don't know if there's actually a symbol that should be there on the approach plate that shows you whether there is an outer marker. Not all airports have outer, middle, inner markers. So I guess that's something that should be marked on the map somehow. I don't know the symbology, Crash, but I think that's the case. In this case, Palomar doesn't have an outer marker. And in that case, it'd be an altimeter reminder check. Ah, Roger. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know if the outer marker is actually always at the... at the final approach fix? That's a good question. In either case, I cannot rely on it because it's not consistently there for all airports. So I should come up with a scheme myself to cross-check my altimeter. So yeah, my communication can be a bit more brief. Good to know. In terms of my checks, I did my checks very nicely. The only thing that I didn't do was grab my checklist also to verify my flows. So I did my flows I think 3 or 4 times during my flight, checking my compass and my heading indicator and my engines and stuff. But I should also develop the habit to then grab my checklist and check whether I completed all of the items. For example, now I see on my checklist here annunciator panel. I didn't check my annunciator panel while we were flying during cruise, and I should have. Now the arrival itself, the approach brief was that Z flow worked pretty well. I was much more aware. I felt also much more, well, in tune with my approach. So that's a good thing. Yeah, and a fairly good landing. Oh yeah, that's one last thing with my. I actually want to see that. Just my short final here. I turned on my 20 degrees of flaps. Yeah, you can see it here. That was not really stable. And in terms of glide slope sensitivity, it really makes a difference. Well, it doesn't really work that much actually. It was better to see from the tower, but you can see here that there's a yeah, you can see where I put in the flaps there, and that means that I should have actually gone a bit slower before I put in my 20 degrees flaps. I was going too fast, I guess, and that produced that extreme pitch up, and that really disrupts my glide slope flow, obviously. So that's something also to improve on, I feel. No, I don't think so, Kim. I don't think so. And I also have a marker beacon audio thing on my 172, and it does work on other airports, but it doesn't work. It didn't ring here during this flight, so I don't think that's true. The auto markers and stuff are not there always. Yeah, so you can see clearly flaps there. You can also see that here initially, going down all places. It's not really that much of a straight line. So that's something that I can improve on, I guess. But not too bad overall. I passed the I-2 rating, so I'm very, very happy. Okay. Let's put this in my logbook. Today, KSNA to KCRKU. Duration 30 minutes. One landing. I was solo with 30 souls on board. It was on instruments. I'm not really that strict with whether it's cross country or not. It's not 50 nautical miles, more than 50. I don't really care. Remarks. Passed my I-2 rating. Happy. All right, and that's that entry. What are we at currently? 278 hours, 11,000 miles. Very cool. Okay, and that completes our lovely little flight. That was awesome. Getting better, but still that cross-check for the altimeter is something that I should really, really focus on. Yeah, so next Monday, it's going to be the I-3 rating. Don't know what the flight actually is, but it's going to be exciting. I can promise you, perhaps also in the weekends, I'm going to do the I-3 perhaps, and then the I-4 on Monday. I have some spare time, so get some pace going there. I'd like to complete all of my I ratings and then continue with my aircraft development for the 172, Blender and 3D modeling that I also cannot wait to start with. So if you are digging this channel, please subscribe, please follow, and jump in my cockpit next time when I'm going to attempt that I3 rating on Twitter, Discord and stuff. That's where I will announce my flights. So if you're curious, that's the place to be. As always, thank you for being here, guys. I appreciate all of the follows. Dolphin, Kim, also for the bits, appreciate it as well. Those kinds of gestures are really, I really appreciate. Thanks a lot. Oh my gosh. Diamond and Ivy and Ham Banana and Arizona Aviator, guys. Oh man. Also Step on the Ball for the $5. Going to Flight SimCon, I cannot wait. And Pilot Panels and Machado. Oh man, I really need some water. Guys, thank you. Until next time, when I recover from my choking here. I3, let's continue the pace. Thanks again. Happy flights and blue skies. Bye.
Palm Springs Tower, Skylink, Hotel Tango, wings 10 miles north, 43,000. Information X-ray, unfolding full stop, landing 13 left, that's it.
Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, Palm Springs altimeters 2985, radar contact, about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, so you're requesting straight in for 13.
If that's available, yes please.
Remember, correction, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, make straight in runway 13 left, and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 3 left, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance plus 4658 is type B6 final slam call request clearance to Vegas S-file.
Palms 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon, unable to give you S-file, I'll be forward standby. Pilots 4658 is cleared to Las Vegas Airport. VF5 Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs. Victor 370 to 29 Palms. Victor 538